Discussions are starting on several key topics. Congressional lawmakers from both parties have been pushing for their new ideas regarding financial relief. As the American people continue to face a high cost of living, many believe that more relief payments should be sent out, but some lawmakers have proposed a different plan. My dear friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video to hear about all of the details. Also, every Friday, I will be announcing winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. My friends, please make sure that you enter these weekly giveaways by clicking and liking several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways.
I come from Indiana and ran a business for 37 years, logistics and distribution. It's been a big benefit to get engaged in conversations like this. Our company was so small for so long. You had duties to where you did everything in that business. For instance, CFO, CEO wasn't even a term we used until maybe 20 years ago, and I did it for 37. It was a blessing to have that practical kind of experience, especially when you get into a discussion here in the budget committee, and we're talking about climate. I view it as an issue that we definitely need to be engaged in on our side of the aisle. I started the Climate Caucus here when they'd attempted to do that for many years. It is valid. Conservatives need to be involved with it, from young conservatives to farmers who are at the leading edge of what might be afoot, from evangelicals to Catholics. But then it gets down to the rubber meeting the road, because if I wasn't really good at Finance 101, I would have never succeeded in that business in the long run. Here we are, the biggest business in the world, and we do not do budgets anymore. We haven't done one that we've adhered to in 20-some years. We've got these big sweeping issues that the country looks to us to be at least civil in the discussion and then maybe come up with some stuff that works. I don't think borrowing now $1.5 trillion, soon to be $2 trillion a year, is a good business plan. Governor, you'd get run out of town with that approach in your own state. We got to do better. Since it's a budget hearing, I generally start there. Now I want to pivot to climate, which is a complicated discussion. My side of the aisle, when I got here, you mentioned climate, you'd clear the room. You mentioned things like tax pricing and so forth. Then you're going to get the mysterious texts, like have you gone to the dark side, stuff like that. We've come a ways there. But still, we're in the context of all solutions generally wanting to be crafted here, but we're in the worst place we've ever been as a country to really do it. And I would suggest that, Governor, many people that run budgets live within your means, that we should maybe be doing more of that in places where get things done. And you pay for it, and you don't borrow from future generations. I'm going to give you an example in my home state. 2 lakes that on the bottom end of one had an endangered mussel, okay? You had to make sure water flow was going to keep them alive. Well, as a consequence, it, through a couple drought years, drained the lakes by 10 feet. And the big stakeholders were not necessarily the mussels, not even the utility that had a small hydroelectric presence, and believe me, they wish they didn't have it on that lake. FERC and Fish and Wildlife. Can you imagine what that discussion was like in trying to actually have people that lived there, the businesses that lived around those lakes as the main stakeholders, been wrestling for 10 years.
Just 6 days after the bipartisan deal on the debt limit became law, House Republicans proposed a slew of tax cuts, leading to charges of hypocrisy by Democrats in a squabble that shows 2 clashing visions for the U.S. economy. GOP lawmakers are pushing deep tax cuts for companies as a primary driver for sustaining economic growth, while President Biden and fellow Democrats seek more targeted tax cuts to achieve social goals such as reducing child poverty and shifting to renewable energy that can help the economy in the long run. The Republican tax cuts for businesses, coupled with an increase in the standard deduction for households, would be funded by wiping out $216 billion in tax breaks over 10 years. White House officials say Republicans' quick pivot to tax cuts reveals they were never sincere about shrinking deficits during the debt limit debate. Many, but not all, of the tax changes the Republicans recently passed out of the Ways and Means Committee would be temporary. If the proposed changes related to corporate taxes were made permanent, the Biden administration says it would undermine the spending cuts that were part of the agreement to raise a government's borrowing authority. The dispute sets the stage for the 2024 elections and the immediate economic challenges that the winner faces. Lawmakers will need to raise a debt limit again and keep portions of the 2017 tax cuts that were passed under the former president, which will expire and cause taxes to rise for most households unless they are extended. Democrats say the latest Republican plan would largely favor companies and better off households. It would make certain tax breaks for businesses retroactive to 2022. The White House says that tax breaks for what companies did in the past would do little to create the jobs that Republicans are promising. Democrats believe in providing tax breaks to help children. One key difference between parties is how they would get money to American families. The GOP bill would increase the standard deduction by $2,000 for individuals and $4,000 for families in 2024 and 2025. That might sound like a lot of money, but it's less than one might think, because those totals apply to the amount of income that's taxable rather than savings. So by definition, lower earners would receive less money back from a more generous standard deduction. The bottom 40% of households will receive an average tax cut of less than $12 a month. Households in the top 20% would have an average monthly tax cut of $46. By contrast, Democrats would rather help families by renewing the expanded child tax credit, which became more accessible and increased in size because of President Biden's 2021 crisis relief package. Families could get monthly payments of as much as $300 per child as part of the expansion, which had lapsed after 1 year. The child poverty rate fell to a record low of 5.2% in 2021 because of these payments. Another source of tension is how Republicans structure their cost. Many of their tax cuts would expire after 2025, even though they'd like to make their policies permanent. But the Biden tax breaks they want to eliminate extend over 10 years, leading to the charge that Republicans are hiding the full expense of their tax cuts. This Thursday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics will release inflation data for July. Economic experts are forecasting a year-over-year increase of approximately 3%, about the same as June. But overall prices for some goods and services have steadily increased over the years during the crisis. The evidence was front and center, as seen in the price of eggs, ground beef, gasoline, used cars, electricity, and rent. And while economists say the prices of some goods and services have started to retreat from their post-crisis highs, the United States is unlikely to return to pre-crisis price levels anytime soon. Well, my magnificent and most marvelous friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this morning. My dearest friends, in a video this Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway, as well as every Friday. So please make sure that you enter the giveaways by clicking and liking several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. My dear friends, the more videos that you comment on, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed week.